All right, so semen retention. Semen retention, it's something that is very popular. A lot of men are partaking in this. And in the comment section, I always get guys who are like, oh, Martel, when are you going to talk about semen retention? I'll talk about semen retention for you, right? So, but I want to take a more mature approach to this because I think a lot of young men are participating in semen retention, which I think is a good thing because maybe they're not in long-term relationships, but maybe you are because I do have a slightly older audience, right? I don't have like a bunch of 17-year-olds and 16-year-olds. But if you're older, chances are you probably are in a relationship, right? If you're single, great, right? Or you may be entertaining someone, not even entertaining, but you're working towards a serious relationship with somebody and you're with that person on a regular basis. There are complexities to semen retention, but let me explain the truth about semen retention. My biggest problem with people who are constantly like they've made their entire brand around semen retention. Semen retention is not like just some goal. It's not the goal. It's not even a process that you need to consciously do because the reality is when you go on semen retention, it's because you're locked into something else. You're not getting distracted by having sex all the time with women, mindless sex, and like you're kind of pushing yourself out of that sphere of life, right? So that's what semen retention actually is. It's you locking in on your goals. It's you being so autistically, maniacally focused on your goals that you don't have time to be entertaining a bunch of different types of women and just spilling your seed out. Because here's the truth. The truth is your seed, right, is actually very powerful. It holds a lot of energy in it. And not spiritual energy. We're not going there. We can go there, but we don't need to go there. Let's talk about it just from a practical perspective, right? The practical perspective is one drop of semen is equivalent to 40 drops of blood. That's how much life force it has, right? So every drop that you give out, you're literally giving it somewhere. So when it comes to nofap, I believe nofap is great. You shouldn't have to do that, right? Because at the end of the day, the purpose is to be with a woman when you're doing that specific action. It's not to do it with yourself, right? So when you go into semen retention, all you're doing is you're just locking in on your goals. I'll give you a quick story. I did quote unquote semen retention. By the way, not even knowing what it was at that time. I didn't really understand the concept. I didn't look into the concept. I was just doing it because I had a goal, right? I had a business that I was trying to build. I had personal development things I wanted to do. I was meditating a lot. I was getting deeper into like growing as a person. So when I was doing that, I had to shut down at the time, and I'll be real with you guys. I had 5 or 6 different women that I was talking to and like messing around with, yada yada, and I was just spilling my seed everywhere, right? Obviously protection, right? You want to make sure you use protection. But I had a point where I was feeling drained. I didn't even have time to like focus on my goals. I didn't have time to focus on the business. I was just constantly being distracted by women, and it wasn't their fault, right? They saw somebody that they were attracted to and they wanted to be a part of my life. But I looked at it as a game. Like, oh, I'm just going to be with a bunch of different women and whatever. And it's fun. It's good. Like, oh, I'm the man, right? But it's like, I got to a certain point where I had to shed that off. I got to a point where I basically closed off on all of the women that I was dealing with at that time, right? And once I did that, I was able to focus on what I had to do. I wasn't just spilling my life force out to everybody. Life force, by the way, is energy. It's literal energy. Like, when people say you're energetic and you feel alive, like that's what I mean by life force, right? Your vitality. My vitality, my life force was getting drained every single time because I knew I had no purpose with these women. I knew this wasn't gonna go far. This wasn't a serious relationship. We weren't building towards something. Our energy, right? Vitality wasn't being exchanged with each other. There was no purpose behind having sex with these women, right? And a lot of you'll get into that like almost hedonistic path. I don't want to sound religious because I'm not, but like you get what I'm saying. Like you get down this hedonistic path and you just feel yourself just getting drained. By the way, a good sign to know whether a woman is good for you or not, or if a woman is actually like feeding into your life, if you and again, if you that's not you, but a lot of men they have sex, right? When you do that with a woman and you feel drained after, which I've had multiple times in my life where you feel drained, that woman is not for you. That's an energy vampire, right? Literally, that's an energy vampire. That's somebody that is there to basically drain your energy. They're looking for your energy and they're not even giving you any energy back. So that exchange that you have is just draining you down. So that's why I believe semen retention is important, because one, it removes the energy vampires that are women in your life, right? That aren't serving a purpose for you. And it allows for you to focus on your purpose with no distractions. That's the truth about semen retention. It's not a prescription. I'm tired of hearing prescriptive things like, bro, go on semen retention for 30 days. Go on semen retention for 90 days. Bro, just stop getting distracted by women for 90 days. That's really what it is. We don't need to have a label around it, but I do it because you associate with that, right? So because you're removing those distractions, you're able to now put your life force, put your energy into yourself, right? And also, when you're masturbating, when you're watching things you shouldn't be watching, right? Women who are doing whatever and sex, and you're watching other people do it, you're basically cucking yourself into just a whole different mindset, which I've talked about in my video on no fat before. You don't even want to go down that path. And the reality is, it's not for just young men. This is for men who are older. This is even for men who are 35, 40, 50 years old that like are purposeless in life. And they're not striving towards a goal. Every day they just have zero energy because you're giving that energy to somebody who literally is giving you nothing in return. So that's why this whole semen retention is important. It's not something that to be celebrated like, bro, I just went on. No, let me do the voice. Bro, I just went on semen retention for like 90 days, man. Women just love me. You're not doing it to be more attractive to women. That's not the goal. I see people marketing it as that's the end goal, is that you become more attractive to women. No, that's not why you're doing it. You're doing it because you need to move your energy. You need to move your life force into a vehicle of purpose, which could be a business. It could be just your own growth as a person, your mindset. Maybe you're going through, like some transformational changes in how you think. You're studying new material. You're learning a new skill set, right? You're up-leveling yourself in your career. When you're going through these intense processes, you don't need to be giving that precious life force that you have to so many other types of women. Now, here's the caveat. If you're in a long-term relationship, right, you don't necessarily need to worry about semen retention. I know this is going to sound very controversial and a lot of people won't agree with this, but you don't need to worry about that because luckily you chose the right person if you're in a long-term relationship. If you're not with the right person in a long-term relationship, leave. You'll know because every time you have sex with them, you'll be drained. If you don't feel drained when you have sex with that person, you actually feel more energized, you feel more alive, that's the right person for you because again, it's equal yoke, right? You're equally yoked. It's not like you're at one power level and the other person's lower and they're just trying to drain you. It's equally yoked. You both have some sort of value that you're providing to each other. So when you get to that point, you need to understand that you don't need to worry about the semen retention. Now, they do talk about sexual transmutation. I believe a good book for that is by David Data. The book is literally just like slipping my mind right now. Way of the Superior Man. That book talks about it a lot, right? Where you can actually like have sex and still hold your seed at the same time and still, climax, but still like hold it in. There are methods to be able to hold it in. But in reality, you don't necessarily need to because it's purposeful, right? And the person is actually providing more life force into you, right? Just through how they feel about you, literally, right? That's why when you go out and you just start messing around with a bunch of different women, you feel drained because a lot of these women don't actually want to be with you, right? Or you don't even actually want to be with these women. So there's no energy exchange that's equal. So you start to feel drained. Right? And they become energy vampires by default, not even because they even want to be. That's just how it works. That's just how the nature of the interaction is. So with semen retention, you have to understand that like, this isn't a prescription. It's the same as like taking a cold shower. Bro, I'm on my 40th day of taking cold showers and I feel so invigorated. My testosterone has increased by like 40%. Nerds. That's not the reason, right? I take cold showers because it wakes me up in the morning. It's literally, that's why I do it. I'm not on a streak. I'm not trying to have a streak around it. I do it because it genuinely helps me, right? If it doesn't genuinely help you, don't do it just because it's a trend. Semen retention, right? I recommend anybody who is single, who is trying to figure out their life, who's in a difficult situation, go on semen retention. Do it, right? But don't do it for the sake of just doing it. Do it for the sake of the fact that you need to refocus, shift your focus towards something that's more productive than just laying in your bed and just beating off to whatever it is that you do, right? Like, that's why semen retention is great, because it actually eliminates all distractions, which most men, the reason why they don't succeed in life, and the reason why, even for me, for example, I didn't succeed in a lot of the things that I did was because I was distracted. So when you become focused, when you actually have a goal and you're not like looking for other women and all of that, you start to actually feel more invigorated and you start to actually achieve those goals. Now, you might be wondering, well,
Martel, people say that when you're on semen retention, you can actually attract more women. You have an aura. You have the aura. Aura.
Yes. But let me explain why that actually happens, right? You don't just magically have this like brightness to you out of nowhere, right? The reality is you stop putting women on a pedestal. So the energy that you give off to these women when they see you, you just have a zero care mentality. Like, you don't actually treat them like they're way more important to you, and you have like this needy energy. You don't have that anymore when you're on semen retention. That's why women are attracted to you, right? That literally is why. And you don't have a drained look because you're not draining your life force on nonsense, right? That's why semen retention does that. It's not like some magical thing that happens. You just stop caring about women as much. Not caring in terms of like you disrespect them, but you just stop caring about their validation. You stop looking at women with this needy look. They see it in your eyes. Like, you stop having that. And women are going to be more attracted to you because that's just the nature of the female and male dynamic. When you start to pull away from them, they want you more. That's why semen retention works. That's why semen retention
Gets you more women.
right?
Come on, Billy.
But yeah, Billy does semen retention just because he wants to tell his friends,
Hey guys, I'm on 90 days of semen retention and I feel like a monster. I feel like a superhero. I'm superhuman. My testosterone levels have flown.
and you didn't even check your testosterone levels, by the way. Like, it could be a placebo effect. You don't know, right? I'm not saying that it's not true, but it's just interesting how people just like will start saying these things without realizing, bro, have a goal. Don't just be sitting around doing nothing and just do semen retention because somebody on YouTube told you to do it because it's going to help you become more attractive to women. Like, the goal is to stop focusing on women and start focusing on the purpose that you have. That's another reason why semen retention helps you attract more women, because now you have a purpose. It's in your eyes. People can see it. It's
In your aura.
people can see it, right? So you have to understand this about semen retention. This is where most people mess up with semen retention, because they constantly use it as like this ultimate mechanism to like transform. It is the thing that's transforming their life. No, the fact that you have no more distractions anymore is what's changing your life. That's what helped me. I went 6 months semen retention. 6 months. I didn't even feel it. It wasn't the thing with semen retention that's interesting is you're not going to actually feel like you need to go do those things. You're not going to have the urge to go and sleep with as many women as possible because now you have a goal. You're clear-minded. You have something that you're going for. It's not a challenge. Semen retention should not be a challenge. It should be a byproduct of you finally having a mission, a vision that you're going directly towards. That should be it. Semen retention is a byproduct. It's not the main thing. So that's what you have to understand. Until you have a goal, until you have something you're fixated on. And by the way, the rule should be just don't go around just messing with a bunch of different women just because you want to prove to yourself that you're that guy. I know a lot of the manosphere guys are like,
Yo, you need to have sex with 50 or 60 women. Like, you need to do that as a man. You have to be able to.
no, that's not how it works. Like, these aren't prescriptions, guys. Like, that's not it. You just have to be purposeful with what you do and select women with a certain level of clarity. Like, understand why you're with that woman. Does she actually provide any value in your life? Like, that's why you do it, right? But you're not just going around just to hit a number. Like, I need 50. I need my body count to be 50. Bro, that's not cool. Like, doesn't make you a better man whatsoever. If anything, it makes you a dork. It makes you just somebody who's just a nerd trying to hack an algorithm. Like, come on. Like, we're men here, right? So that's my whole shtick on semen retention. I might have disappointed some people because some people genuinely believe semen retention as a method, as the thing, is the answer. But it's like, bro, that's a byproduct. Like, it's literally a byproduct. And even if you are in a long-term relationship, maybe you're going on business trips and you're doing things like that. That's the time that you do semen retention, right? When you're going and you're doing things and you're active and you're not around the woman that you sleep at night with every day, right? That's a form of semen retention. Again, not that you're doing it for that reason. It's because you're preoccupied with the goal, the vision, the mission. That's why, right? So I hope this clarified a lot. And yes, do it. Do it if you have a goal. Do it. And again, if you're in a long-term relationship, don't worry about it. Unless you're with the wrong person. If you're with the wrong person, that's a whole different video, right? But if you're with the right person, don't worry about it. I'll tell you, for me, in my situation, I don't feel like I'm drained. I have a very active TMI. I have a very active life when it comes to like bedroom and all that type of stuff. Right? I have a very active sex life. I'm not feeling drained every time. So I don't need to do that. I have energy. You see me in these videos. I'm hyped. I'm ready to go. I'm trying to hit business goals. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I'm preoccupied throughout the day. I'm trying to wake up at 5 a.m. every day. Right? And I have energy throughout the whole day. So that's what I'm saying. Like, do it for the necessity that you're trying to eliminate waste in your life. Sitting around and masturbating and watching porn, that in itself should be one of the reasons why you do it. So that you don't do those things. So that you train your brain to not be addicted to that dopamine. Right? It's almost like dopamine detox. I actually believe in dopamine detox. I think it's a real thing, and I actually want to participate in dopamine detox as well. Maybe I'll make a video around it once I start doing it and I start learning about it more. But when it comes to semen retention, yes, I went on a 6-month semen retention journey without even knowing what it was. And it changed my life, man. It changed the course of my life. So I hope this was helpful, guys. I hope this gave you some clarity on the topic, but I appreciate you guys. And again, if you're interested in building your life force as a man, becoming the best version of yourself, physically, mentally, financially, like all of that, like overall life transformation, but like I start with the physical side. I start with actually helping you build the body that you need to be able to be a dominant man. Link is in the description. I'm willing and able to work with a good amount of guys one-on-one to be able to help them with that. So links in the description. Apply, see if it makes sense. We'll hop on a call, see if it makes sense, but only apply with the intention of working with me one-on-one. Don't just apply just to have a little conversation, bro. Like, time is precious. I want to work with people. I don't just want to have casual conversations. DM me on Instagram if you want to have a casual conversation, right? And I might get to you. But that's it for me today. Appreciate y'all. Share this with a friend who like constantly talks about semen retention like it's literally like just a new invention. Like, no, this has been around for centuries. People have done it unintentionally and it's worked for them. But I'm gonna catch y'all on the next video. I'm done.